Oh God, oh God, oh God, he's blushing. Oh.
I recommend you that to draw a hand mildly open.
The location is anus?
Let me teach you how to draw.
Here's a trick to drawing more.
What the f is going on? What's up, guys? Welcome. It's been a while since we've checked out some TikTok art tutorials. Hopefully they've had time to procreate and propagate and spread more misinformation and lead more young artists astray. We're gonna take a look at them now and give them a rating from 1 to 10, 1 being booty cheeks and 10 being pretty damn good.
I cheat to make colorful line art. Have lines. Very important.
Why are we whispering, bruh? Make me uncomfortable.
Duplicate the layer with the lines. Set the top one to overlay and the bottom one to multiply. Pick a light color for the multiply layer. I like light orange tones, but you can get crazy with it. Now pick a darker color for the overlay layer. I usually use a few different colors to keep things interesting. Color that bad boy however you want. Now your line art will just adapt to it.
Alright, you know what, despite the molestation of my ears, this is actually pretty sick. So basically a light color for the multiply layer and a dark color for the overlay layer, and you get adaptable color changing line art. That's 9 out of 10, -1 for the whisper.
Let me teach you how to draw.
Here's a trick to drawing more.
What the f is going on? Okay, will this video get me demonetized or are these tasteful butts?
Here's a trick to drawing more expressive butts. Most of the time, you think of butts as 2 big circles.
Yes.
But butts are actually made of 4 slightly smaller circles that are arranged like this, in the shape of a butterfly, with 2 larger muscle groups underneath that pull the legs up, and these 2 smaller muscles that attach onto the back. These muscles all contract and relax. They're tense and defined when pulling the leg back, stretched when the leg is pulled forwards, and squishy and soft when doing nothing at all. And both sides are rarely doing the same thing.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lizard. That was much more tasteful than I expected. Here's something else to note if you are a serial butt drawer, but everybody has very differently shaped butts. So you gotta be aware of that. You know, some people have more filled out, more plump shapes, some people have skinnier shapes, and 2 butts are never really quite the same. I don't draw them a lot necessarily, but I do observe a lot. Women and men, I don't discriminate.
Have you ever wondered how these pro artists render the skin to make it look so luminous and gorgeous? Well, you might have noticed they use these exact 3 colors and a super bright orange line on next to the shadow of the skin. I'm gonna explain exactly where these colors come from and how to apply them.
Okay, let's get down to what's going on in this shadow on a paper. First of all, it's going to be meaningfully affected by ambient light because it's in shadow. It is an absolutely beautiful day today, so the entire shadow is going to be covered in blue color. Now the sun's gonna come down, hit my hand, adopt the color that my hand is, and scatter ambient orange light everywhere. Now I used a paper shadow to show this because its white base color shows all the ambient colors very clearly.
I'm gonna pause it right here just to say this is a fantastic example showing bounce light and ambient light. And she is 100% spot on right here. So you see the blue on the paper there? The shadow's not being hit by the direct light from the sun, but it's actually being hit by the blue ambient light from the sky. And I love the way you've shown the warm bounce light there. That's great.
But this is a skin render tutorial, so we're gonna find ourselves with a blue ambient light color at the top of the skin shadow from the sky. And then, because of the nearby hand's ambient bounce light, we're gonna get a brighter yellow color at the bottom of this shadow. But that still doesn't explain the mysterious orange line. Well, this extremely saturated area is caused by subsurface scattering. Skin is a translucent object, which means that only some of its waves passes through. Then it exits the skin at some other location and then enters our eyes.
Great examples there. Now, if you're wondering why the golden sunlight turns almost reddish as it enters the skin, it's because we have blood vessels, and blood is red.
First of all, I'm just gonna add a darker skin color to add in the shadow area of the drawing. And because we're outside, there's going to be a ambient shadow color from the sky reflected onto some parts of the skin. And then near to the edges of the sky, we're gonna get a much brighter color because of subsurface scattering. Yay! It looks so
great.
pretty. Why? Because orange and blue are opposites on the color wheel, which creates complementary hue contrast. Also, I want to branch out to YouTube, so check it out right here. There's some cringy but adorable yaoi on there from a few years ago when I was worse at drawing.
Listen, Navy, you have my full support for your move to YouTube. I actually think you're a really good teacher. You've broken this topic down in a way that's very easy to understand. That's what a good teacher does. A good teacher breaks the topic down without using huge words so that even the 5-year-olds can understand it. You've done a great job at this. 11 out of 10.
Most artists can make a solid sketch but not many can paint properly. In fact, it's probably one of the least understood concepts by intermediate artists. If you paint from intuition without a clear plan, this simply leads to a sloppy, unstructured painting. The process has only 3 steps. Now, assuming you have a solid sketch, meaning no major perspective issues, the first and easiest step is to block in your local colors, meaning the base color of each material when it's not being hit by light. Now, step 2 gets a little harder. Once we have a solid base, let's identify the number, direction, and intensity of lights. Especially for beginners, it can be very tempting to add all sorts of intense, colorful lights to show that you can play with the lighting. But this oftentimes leads to problems in your values, composition, and can cause overexposed scenes. Usually you want to have one main clear source of light that will help highlight your focal point, aka the area you want your viewers to look first. Every other light source should act as a supporting character. Now, the final step is probably the step most artists get wrong, yet invest the most time into, and that is rendering, aka zooming in to paint the details of the materials. Now, there's 3 things most artists get wrong about rendering. Number 1, as tempting as it is, first make sure most of your structure and perspective is right. Otherwise, you'll be rendering garbage. And no matter how much icing you put on top of a pile of garbage, it will only ever be a pile of garbage. 2, not everything has to be rendered. If in a superhero movie, everyone had powers, Superman would no longer be remarkable. Likewise in art, if every single area of your canvas was filled to the brim with dense detail and rendering, people wouldn't know exactly where to look. This is exactly why we need to learn to balance the areas of rest and areas of detail. And now the final tip is probably one of the most helpful, yet the one that might shock some people.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm gardening my Ramsey now.
Do you want to paint your characters like this? Most artists can make a solid sketch.
Brother, I trusted you. You dirty dog. You stupid, you little cockroach. Now, this entire video, except for the part where you decided to Gordon your Ramsay, it's just straight facts. I really resonate with the point of getting your sketch right, getting your perspective and your anatomy right before you actually go and spend too much time on rendering. An unrendered drawing of an anatomically correct character in the correct perspective is going to look much more high scale than a fully rendered drawing of a character whose anatomy makes literally no sense. And that's just one of the facts. You know, you want to get your fundamentals down before you start putting lipstick on the pig. This is gonna get a 1 out of 10 for gardening my Ramsay, bro. There's kids here. Stop drawing like this. Stop. I mean, that's pretty good though. Use your eyes, not hand. What do you mean by that? What are you talking about? Hang on, brother, I'm confused. Like this. Dude, that's a great drawing, and I love seeing a great drawing. But you know what I love seeing even more than a great drawing? A TikTok tutorial with no context. What are you talking about, draw with my eyes? What do you mean? What, you want me to just... Come on, explain yourself, brother. Now, I think what this person means is you want to actually go in and look for relationships and context and proportions between all the different things that you're drawing instead of just doing it without a plan, which is absolutely true. But again, that might just be me giving you too much credit. 1 out of 10. How to draw a kiss, 14 plus. Okay, well, I appreciate the age warning here for the children. First, you draw 2 eggs. You merge the 2 eggs and you draw, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. What is, oh God, oh God, he's blushing. Oh, what in the Picasso is happening here? This is not a kiss. This is cannibalism. 1 out of 10.
I recommend you that to draw a hand mildly open.
Hey, yo, brother. What is going on this platform, you guys? What are you guys doing? Goontok, bro. The location is anus?
Here are some beginner exercises that you should be doing if you're not already.
You look like you have a very drawable face, my brother.
So the first exercise that you're going to want to do are drawing lines and circles. This is straightforward, but this is the foundation of drawing really anything. So make sure that you have confident lines and you can draw circles effortlessly. After drawing circles and lines, you're going to want to start practicing perspective. You know, I do these exercises as warm-ups. I'll just draw a perspective grid and draw some cubes in the perspective grid. And then you're going to want to move on to primitive forms. This is going to be the building blocks of everything that you're going to draw. And then an exercise that I like to do is just draw these primitive forms just stacked on top of each other, or just try to draw them in perspective. Then after that, you're going to want to construct objects with these forms. So I'm showing a toilet here. Then after that, I like to practice gesture. You're going to want to practice gesture all the time. Do as many gestures as you can. Draw figures using gesture. And then after that, you're going to want to mannequinize those.
That a freaking box? Oh.
And then after that, to bring it all together, you can do master studies. So I would start with the gesture. Then you can draw those primitive forms on top of that gesture. And then the master studies are really good to just understand how they render things. So make sure you incorporate those exercises daily.
These are all really great ways to hammer down your fundamentals. Now, of course, if someone's doing a demonstration, I would want them to be able to draw the perspectives right, but getting a 7 out of 10, I think it's a bit long-winded for me. How to draw the sexy. Look, dude, I'm not trying to do this. Okay, TikTok's doing this to me. Every 2 posts, you learn nothing. Yeah, no oh my god, this is the last time I do this. Do you guys have the same experience when you go on TikTok, or is this just me? Like, did I build this myself?
What's wrong with this line art? Technically, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the outline, and we can easily tell what we're looking at. But it feels really flat. The problem is that the lines are treating the whole arm as one big shape, and not saying anything about how the little shapes in the arms interact. Let's break this up into smaller shapes. Thinking in 3D, they overlap and merge with one another. So now, let's extend some of our existing lines to outline some of the smaller shapes that we can see in the front, merging and overlapping the others. It's just a little difference, but the drawing has now got a lot more depth and detail. We even now have some guidelines to start placing shadows.
See, now that's a great piece of advice. Nice and concise, super easy to implement, and in general, yes, you absolutely do want your line art to kind of follow and reflect the anatomy of the subject that you're drawing. The shapes, the forms. One of the most common mistakes that a lot of beginners tend to make when it comes to drawing line art is they treat it as an outline. Always remember, when you're doing line art, you're not outlining. 10 out of 10. This goofy lizard is the only thing keeping me sane today.
Blend skin tones. These are the pastels that I'm going to be using.
If you guys don't know by now, I hate oil pastels. It's one of my longest standing ops.
As usual, I'll start with the eyes. I'll just work from dark to light. I'll start with the shadows, and then I'll use the lightest pressure for the first shade I use, and then I'll start to increase the pressure as it goes on. If I want the color that I'm using to be more evident than the color that's already on the paper, I'll apply more pressure. But if I just want this soft blended look, instead of having one color be more stark than the other, then I'll just use the very lightest pressure.
How are you adding so much detail on such a small surface with oil pastels? You belong in a psych ward. Oh my lord, that is beautiful. I don't know if I'm more impressed with the drawing or if I'm more impressed with the fact that you drew this with oil pastels. This is incredible, man. Like, I mean, why oil pastels though? I don't get it. Is everything okay at home? 10 out of 10 for showing me that maybe my hatred for oil pastels is just a skill issue. There we go, guys. That was a very treacherous expedition through some TikTok art tutorials. Hopefully you learned something new, and if you didn't learn anything new, hopefully you just had a good time, because I certainly did not. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed watching me not have a good time. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more art related content, and check out my Patreon if you want to see monthly tutorials. If you're finding that you're plateauing a little bit in your art journey, we have some very good fundamental building art tutorials there that should be able to help you break through some of those walls. That being said, thanks so much for watching this video all the way through, and I will see you guys on the next video, where hopefully there's more art tutorials and less gooning content. I'm freaking tired of this. What is this? This is a children's platform, you guys, for God's sake.